Rhonda Knight. Let's go. Real talk with Rhonda Knight. That's it. Real talk with Rhonda. Woo. She gon' talk about it. 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 She gon' talk about it.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk with Rhonda Knight. I'm excited today because I am with three beautiful women, and one more is going to be joining us. But we are going to be talking about a real subject today, and my excitement comes from the fact that I know once you hear the show that you're going to get involved in what we're a part of. Because any parent, if you're a parent out there, you're listening to Real Talk with Rhonda Knight, then you're going to want to be a part of what we're a part of, okay? And we're going to tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. And for those of you who are just joining us, my name is Rhonda Knight, and it is Real Talk with Rhonda Knight. So we keep it real here. I'm glad you're joining us. Make sure you like, make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe, all the fun stuff that we have to say, because we definitely want to have you here. You don't want to miss some of the great shows that we do and some of the great information that you can learn from following me and being a part of Real Talk Around Tonight. So again, welcome to our viewers, and we're glad you're here. So today we're going to be talking about Voices of Black Mothers United. Voices of Black Mothers United, yes. And this is a wonderful organization. The executive director is Sylvia Bennett Stone. She's going to be joining us later on. She's actually on an interview right now with Fox. And so she'll be joining us, and we'll be able to talk to her more about what that's about. But I do want to tell you, guess what, to my fans and my followers out there, I am actually the state lead for the state of Georgia and for the state of Michigan, which is my hometown, for Voices of Black Mothers United. So as you're watching the show, if you're a parent or a mother who has lost their child to violence, please, in the states of Georgia or Michigan, please reach out to me so that we can provide any services we can for you and help you along that journey and see what we can do to make a difference. So today I have some very beautiful ladies, as I said here, that's joining me, and they're going to be sharing their story because they are all mothers who have lost their child to violence. I want you to listen very carefully. I also want you to make comments. You can make comments, as you can see on this live stream, and talk to our moms. Give us some feedback. Tell us what you're thinking. If you have any questions, be sure that you put it in that chat or in the comments so that we can address what you're asking. But the first mom I'm going to talk to tonight is going to be Zanetia Henry. And Zanetia and I connected through a friend of ours named TK, who's doing wonderful things in her community too to help our youth. And so, Zanetia, how you doing today?
I'm good today, Rhonda. How are you?
Good. And guys, I want you to notice something. She said, I'm good today. And we're going to talk about that because sometimes people do things and they don't even realize they're doing it. But I know what that today means. And we're going to talk a little bit further about why she said today, because it could have been, I'm good at this moment. And that would be a true statement too. So Zanetia, I do want to share a little bit too about someone. I kind of adopted Zanetia's son. She shared him with me to be the child that I honor and keep his memory alive for the state of Georgia. And her son's name is Dre Charles. And I have a picture of Dre Charles because I want you guys to meet her son, a beautiful young man who is no longer with us, but he's with us in spirit. And we're going to keep his name alive, and we're going to keep his memory alive. And I want you guys to look at this handsome face, and I want you to think about him and all the children, our children in our community, your children. If you don't have children, children in your family, think about our kids, okay? While you listen to Zanetia. So Zanetia, share your story with us about Dre Charles and about your plight and how you ended up in where you are right now.
Well, Dre is my 22-year-old son who was murdered April 26th of 2019. Dre is full of spirit, full of life, fun-loving. He was the life of the party. So he looked at life as, I'm living today, and I'm going to live life to the fullest. I'm going to enjoy every minute of life. And in those 22 years, he did that. He was not a mean person, not a person who held grudges, but he did love to mingle with people, and he would laugh and talk with anybody. He could basically walk up to a tree and almost make a tree start talking to him. So April of 2019, our life turned upside down. You know, when we got the call, and by the end of that night, you know, it was just a whole new life. So I knew then that I would not allow him or his memory to be forgotten. I knew then even more so how important it is for us to get her, Jay, get her, for us to push to make sure that as less parents, if I'm saying that correctly, we don't want other parents to go through what we've been through. We can't stop everything. We can't, you know, make sure that nothing else ever happens. But I feel that if we push and if we let people know how important it is to embrace all of our children and be there, then we could actually, you know, we could actually help to eliminate some of the senselessness.
Right.
My husband and I, you know, we moved to Georgia in order for us to heal, and as well in order for us to be able to connect and gain resources to help, to go back and help, to help parents heal. And so that's my journey. That's my push, is that sweet face that you're looking at. That push to say, I'm not going to allow the world to forget him, because his life matters. He left behind at the time, a 5-year-old daughter. So, you know, we think a lot of times about those things that she'll miss because of senseless gun violence.
Okay. And you're right about that. And so, do you want to share what exactly happened to him? Because for each of you moms, you don't have to go into details about that if you don't want to. But if you do want to share that part, you can. Because I just want people to know, like, I think in each one of your cases, your child was literally not bothering anybody. They didn't start anything. There weren't, you know, any altercations. It was just stupidity. Like someone decided to take a life when they shouldn't have done that whatsoever. So, I mean, it's up to you if you want to share that part or not.
What I will share with that right there is the fact that, again, like I said, my son loved to enjoy people, and he loved the crowds. He liked to be with me. If you having a party, he wanted to be there. If you were hanging out and just enjoying and laughing and he wanted to be there. So this is what he was doing. He was doing what he normally, you know, would do, and that's enjoy people, hanging out, doing what he do to enjoy himself. And he was shot several times in the back, multiple times in the back. So obviously this young man, who actually a convicted felon, shouldn't have had access to a gun anyway, decides that this is what he's going to do. So just deciding to just take a life.
Yeah.
And he's not, my son has never been a person who would start anything for his entire life. He's one that would walk away from conflict. If you're arguing and you're fussing and carrying on with him, he'll walk away from conflict. He's just, because he was too busy trying to enjoy life and have fun. So conflict wasn't him.
Okay, and thank you for sharing that with us. And so I am going to go to Jay next. And Jay, I just want you to share your story and then share with our listeners. Um, what you want to say, and you might want to move over just a little bit too, because I know the picture is blocking you, but we see your beautiful face there. And I love, I just want to have a picture of so people can see your child, because like for each one of you, I don't have a child for Patricia, but her son is going to, her child is going to be in our memory too. If you can't move over, Jay, it's okay. No worries. There you go. There she go in that little corner right there, y'all. I put this picture because I love this picture of you, and I want people to think about the fact this is a mom and her daughter. This could be you and your child. So as she tells her story, and as you guys are listening, as my viewers, I want you to understand one thing, and I'm gonna slide a little bit too, just for a minute, so you can hear me and see me. But I want you guys to understand that, and the reason I'm sharing their children, the picture of their children with you, is because I want you to have a heart out there. This is not just a show. You guys know when I do Real Talk Around tonight, you never know what I'm going to talk about. Sometimes I get silly. I talk about crazy stuff like UFOs, or I talk about interesting things like, how do you know what love is when you say you're looking for a good man or a good woman, how do you know what that is? So I like to keep it real with whatever I'm thinking about or feeling. But this is one of the parts for me that is a very important show. And it's so important for me that you, my viewers, that you guys understand where I'm coming from. You follow me. You're part of my company, okay? I consider you all my friends, even though I don't know you all. But I want to say this is important to me. This is important, and it should be important to you. Again, if you have children, or if you know children, or if you care about children, you need to get involved, and you need to hear their stories. And then I'm going to talk a little bit later about why you shouldn't just only hear the stories, and you should do something about it. But I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. This is Janetta Doss, but she goes by Jay Honey as her author name. So I call her Jay for short because that's her author name. All right, Jay, go ahead and share with us. Can you hear me? Or are you okay to share right now, or you want me to come back?
No, I'm ready.
Okay.
My name is Jay Honey, as you said, Rhonda, and my story is my daughter was 18 when she was killed. She was the most vibrant soul, free spirit. She was very joking, just had a spirit out of this world. Like, she just loved people, loved to play around, loved to joan, as we say, like talk about people, but in a jokingly way. Never had any enemies, none of that. And she was just, if she walked in a room, she was definitely going to take the attention out of the room. Like, everybody was going to love her. So to know her, you had to love her. She was just that type of person, had a great big heart, loved her siblings. She loved her siblings. So my daughter was killed April of last year, 2020. She was robbed and she was killed. And my world came crashing down because my daughter was literally my best friend. And we shared a lot of secrets, a lot of me teaching her things. She was my only daughter for 4 years. So she watched me and she had me down to a T. And it was like, oh my God. But she had her own personality. And I say this all the time. She taught me how to be a mother, because what worked for my son didn't work for her. She was never okey doke. She was always going to challenge you. She definitely was going to challenge. And my son, my older son, he was different. If I told him, go stand in a corner, he'll just go. But my daughter always had, well, why am I standing in a corner? I need to, you know what I'm saying? So she always gave me that extra thinking, like I can't do for him, what I do to her, or her to him. And so last year, my daughter, we were in the kitchen the day we were in the kitchen, and we were talking and we was playing, and she said, "Okay, Mom, I'm getting ready to go." My son, she was going with my son, and she was going over to my mother's house. And my mother, she went to my mother's house, and she left at 8:26. I believe it was 8:26. The person that killed her actually picked her up.
Mm.
Um, he was supposedly a friend, and he picked her up from my house, and they left. The next day, my mother called me, and she said, "Did Cario come home last night?" And I said, "No, what are you talking about?" I said, "She was at your house." She said, "Yeah, but when I got up this morning, I looked in the room, she wasn't there." Immediately, I told my mother, "Call the police," because that wasn't like her. She just didn't do things like, and it was like they say it was a mother instinct that immediately said, "Contact the police." I told my mom I'm on my way. So I made it to my mother's house. And when I contacted the police on the phone, and I was telling them, I was like, she did not come back home. Um, I went in the room, I investigated it myself. Every like she used to play the game, and the game was still on. Her AirPods was still in the room. It looked like she just was running out, and she was gonna come right back. So I never touched anything in the room, and I did my own little detective stuff, and I was like, she usually take them. She usually, she wouldn't have left the game. So when I called the police, they said, "How old is your daughter?" I said, "My daughter is 18." And they said, "Well, ma'am, you know, did she get in a fight with her boyfriend? Did she, start asking other questions?" And I'm trying to stay calm, but the inner me is like something. I didn't want to think the worst. I just wanted to honestly think, well, maybe she just fell asleep somewhere and she forgot to call. She was gonna come back or whatever. And so I said to the officer on the phone, I said, "My daughter don't do this." And I said she didn't have an argument with anyone. Um, and he said, "Well, you have to wait because she is grown. You have to wait 48 hours before we can actually make a missing person report." He said, "We can make a report, we can put it in the system, and we will leave it in the system within 24 hours. You guys call us back and say, hey, she's here, she's not, or whatever. And then we can actually come out." Okay. So I was like, okay. So they came out because I kept pressing. I just kept pressing because I'm like, this not right. Like something is not sitting well with me. So they came out, they took her name, they asked me all the description of her. And I just, when they left, I just I started panicking, and I picked up the phone and I called her. I said, "She didn't come home last night." He said, "I've been calling her phone. Please have her to call me." And I started calling the phone and calling the phone and calling the phone. And she wasn't answering. Or they FaceTime. Wasn't like her. And so I said, "She's not home. She's not on the FaceTime." I said, "I'm about to go down here now. Now I'm in mama mode. I'm like, I'm about to go down here to T-Mobile, and then somebody gonna have to tell me something, even if I wasn't on her phone. Somebody gonna tell me something." So her dad was like, "I got it. I know a girl that worked at T-Mobile. I can have her pull the records and everything. Okay. So I drive down to the T-Mobile. I was driving down to the T-Mobile, like maybe 10 minutes away. He was at another T-Mobile. He thought I was at T-Mobile.
Mhm.
So then I get a call, and it's her friend. And her friend is screaming hysterically on the phone. She's like, Mom. She's like, it's her shoes. It's her shoes. It's her shoes. And I'm going, what are you talking about? You know, because I didn't know what she was talking. She says, Mom, it's on Facebook. It's on Facebook. She sent me the link of Facebook. And instantly I knew it was her. It was never a body there, but I know my kid clothes. And I knew her clothes. Now, the one thing about the media, I would say this about the media, you really have to be careful with the media because they aren't always the truth.
Mhm.
Now, my daughter had never been arrested, never been convicted of a crime, never been fingerprinted, never even had a ticket. So how they identify people is through fingerprints. It's through documentation that they have been at least had a ticket, been pulled over, went to jail. Or they cannot identify a person that has no record.
Mhm.
So they were saying that it was a Jane Doe. And they were saying nobody came by Ohio. You know, first they were saying she was 13, but she was small like me. And they was 13. She had braids in her hair. She didn't have braids. She wasn't 13. Then they said she was 100 pounds. She wasn't 100 pounds. So it was all of, when I read the article, if I would have just not paid attention to the clothes, I would have said, this is not my child. Because none of what they described was my daughter. So
Well, Jay, let me ask you. So when you said that this was on Facebook, it was a news reporting on Facebook, or somebody had showed a clip from their television of a news report, or
yeah,
how was it on Facebook?
It was actually on the news, and I didn't know. It was on Facebook from
Okay.
St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department.
Oh, okay.
That's a total different thing. When I called the police, my mother lived in Ferguson at the time. My mother was living in Ferguson, Missouri.
Mhm.
Ferguson, Missouri, and St. Louis City does not merge. They're police departments. They are two totally different departments. One is considered the county, one is considered the city.
Okay.
So they had no idea. My daughter left in the county. She ended up dead in the city.
Okay.
Okay, so those two police departments didn't even see each other, or communicate with one another.
Okay.
So when her friend sent it to me, she was screaming. And she was like, I know her, Jane. I know her. And when I seen it immediately, I knew something was wrong.
Okay. I want to stop you here because I know that it's still a fresh thing for you, and I don't want you to have to relive everything that happened because I know that it's fresh, and I don't want to take you that far down the path of that. So I'm gonna let you just I'm come back to you in just a moment, and we're gonna talk about some things because I let her share to my viewers because, like I said, with each one of them, I'm gonna let them share. But I want you to think about everything that they're saying, and we're gonna talk about the difficulty not only when you're worried about where your child is, if they're missing or what's going on, you have to deal with a whole lot of stuff. And while trying to figure things out and while trying to find your child or figure out what's going on, you're dealing with the police, you're dealing with, other people and stuff, and it can make it very overwhelming. So this is all a part of what people go through when they lose a child to violence. So stay tuned, continue to listen, because even though you're going to hear some stories today that are stories that, of course, breaks anyone's heart, anyone with a heart is going to affect you and move you. But what I want you to know about each one of these women, and I'm so proud of each one of them. I mean, if I was there, I'd hug each one of them. They know I'm always sending these virtual hugs and kisses, but because I'm so proud of each one of them, because even through all their pain, they still made an effort to go out and make a difference. They're all involved in doing something that's going to bring about change. And we're talking about change that we need in our communities. Each of us are from some community somewhere. So I know that you, as a person viewing this, you would like to see change in your community. And this does not mean, we're not talking about the hood or whatever you want to think, like just because those people matter too. But we're saying things can happen in any community. You might be in the richest community. Look at what happened with Charles Manson when they went in and killed all those people in the rich community because they were just sick-minded people. So it can happen in your suburban communities. It can happen in the inner city communities. It can happen anywhere. You live in a community, you're still vulnerable to crime, but we want to do everything that we can do to help stop crime. So we're all here and imploring to you to say, what can you do to help us make a difference? It may be as simple as being a part of a movement that is trying to make change across our country by helping to reform the police, for one, helping to be an advocate for those who have lost their children to violence, helping to bring about change in our community and make it safer, coming up with programs and things that we can do to make a difference. So as you listen to their stories, I want you to continue to listen so that you can hear some of the other things that they're doing as well and hear how you can get involved to make a difference. So right now I'm going to go to Patricia. Patricia and I got a chance to talk and meet, and I met Jay and Patricia through Zanetia. She's like a person that'll connect you with people. So we all love you and thank you for connecting us together, Zanetia. So Patricia, share with us your story, a little bit about your story. And I don't have a picture of your child, but I do have a picture of your book. Bam. So share with us a little bit of your story as well.
Okay, thank you for having me. My son David was he was murdered on his 26th birthday. He was my only son, but he was a baby of the three. Meaning that he always tried to boss his older sisters around, so they called him my little big brother, because even though he was the youngest, he always took control. David was a young man that did not. I mean, he did not meet a stranger. He was very well liked and mannerable. It was always he was yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, type of young man. Everywhere he went, people just flocked to his personality. He had one of the sweetest personality. That wasn't he didn't meet a stranger, and he would just literally try to help anybody that he could. He was just so full of life, and he was a people person. He loved his mama. He loved his mama. They always oh, you got that boy spoiled rotten. And yes, yes I did. That was my baby. So that was my right. To kind of spoil him.
And that's okay.
And but on December 20th, 2017. I remember that morning so fresh, and it was 3 years ago, but I remember as if it just happened yesterday. I woke up, I got up and I prayed, and then I thank God, for blessing my son, to see his 26th birthday, and as I was in the bathroom, getting ready for work, I had this thought come to my mind. And now looking on hindsight, a lot of times things come to us and we don't understand it, but then when you look at it hindsight, you get the full picture. And And I remember that morning I was in the mirror, combing my hair, washing my face, and I'm like, Lord, I thank you, for blessing my son, to see 26 today. And this thought come to my mind: how many people actually die on their birthday? And I'm like, wow, where that come from? The chances of something like that happening is it's like 1 in a million. So I went on about my day, went on to work, and I got a picture collage, of David, and I put some picture collage of him, and went on Facebook. It's like, hey, stop what you're doing, and help me wish, David the 26th birthday, and all of that, So my day was, I didn't call him at work to wish him a happy birthday because he had just started a new job, and I didn't want to get him in trouble, on his job. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait until I get off work, and then I'll call him myself and wish him a happy birthday. So I got home. It was on a Wednesday. I'm getting ready for Bible study. And I heard the voice of the Lord speak to me: whatever you do, stop and call your son and wish him happy birthday. So I stopped in my track. I sat down in my recliner. I called Tim. He said, hello. I'm like, hey, baby, I hadn't forgotten you. I know I'm calling kind of late. I haven't forgotten you. I was just calling, to wish you happy birthday and to let you know that mama love you. And he said, I love you too. And I said, well, I'm gonna talk to you later. No, I'm getting ready to go to Bible study. Happy birthday. He said, okay, mama, no, love you. And so I hung up the phone and went to Bible study. And my mom had called him, to sing happy birthday to him. She had talked to him. So I got home about 9 o'clock, and I looked at my phone. I didn't take my phone with me. I had some missed calls, and my husband said, LaJordan called you, and LaJordan was David's fiance. And I'm like, well, what she want? He said she didn't say. So I called her, and she was panicking, and next thing I know, people some of my son friends come to my door and say, Miss Pat, you need to come with us right now. Come with us, and I'm like, what's going on? So his dad called me on the on the phone and said, Pat, you need to get to the hospital now. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Nobody would tell me anything. And so when I got there, I walked in the emergency room, and they had the door open, and I was able to peep through a crack of the door, and I saw that they had David on the table with the ambu bag. They were pressing it, and they closed the door, and I just lost it. I started praying. I started praying. I started speaking the word of God over my son's life, and like, Lord, no, not my will be done, but your will be done, Lord. You say you're going to satisfy my son with long life, and at that moment I just began to call on God, because that was the only person that I knew to call on. That was the only person that I knew that could help me at that moment. Mm-hmm. But when they came in to tell me that my baby was gone, I lost it. I ran out the emergency room in the parking lot, and I remember there were so many people there. And when they finally allowed us to go into the back, my cousin was there. By this time, my sisters and them had came down, but they didn't tell my mom. Because my mom is elderly, and she had just sang happy birthday to him a couple of hours earlier than that. So we didn't tell her. But when the time came for them to let us go back in the room to see him, my cousin was there, and I said, look, I only want a certain amount of people to come back here. The names that I give you are the names that I want to come back in here, because I know people. Mm-hmm. And I said, my son is not going to be the talk of the town. I am going to maintain my son's integrity, because a lot of those people I know that was there, they were there just to be nosy. Some of the people that was there are people that would see me in the grocery store, that would be in front of me, behind me in the grocery store. It never speak to me. Hey, Patricia, hey, Pat, how you doing? So I was not going to give them something, let them come here and see my baby like that, so they can go out and spread it around town. I was not going to do that. I did not have control over what happened to my baby, but this is one thing that I was going to have control over, that I was going to maintain his integrity. Mm-hmm. In 2017, my life has changed. I mean, nothing You know, say this is my new. I you say this is my new normal, but there's nothing normal about my new normal because everything has changed. It's like I'm trying to reinvent myself, trying to teach myself how to do the things that I once knew how to do. I'm trying to retrain or reteach my. It's almost like I'm in rehab or physical therapy. I'm trying to train or trying to reteach myself how to do things that came normal to me, all at the same time, trying to live my life one day at a time, the best that I can. And I'm on this roller coaster of emotions. One day I'm good. The next day I'm about to fall apart. The next day I just don't want to be bothered. So it's a roller coaster of emotions. And the thing that get me, Miss Rhonda, is you never know when they're coming. I could
And
be laughing and giddy one minute, and the next minute I'm bawling my eyes out.
and
And
Patricia,
so
let me stop you right there too for one moment. So earlier when Zanetia said, I'm okay today, and the way that she said today brings us just to that point what you're talking about now. And even when the conversations I've had with Jay, I know that one moment you might be okay, but the next minute you're not. And it's so sad, and it's so it's something nobody wants to experience. You do not want to be in that place where you cannot control your emotions. You cannot get over what happened and we're going to talk about, I want to share with you guys, and I'm going to put this on because remember people, this show is about voices of, I want to put this other one on here right quick. Voices of Black Mothers United. And we have some moms here that are sharing their stories, and they're voicing their thoughts and their experiences with you. So Voices of Black Mothers United, again, an organization dedicated in helping parents who have lost their children to violence, especially Black mothers. And we say Black mothers not because we're prejudiced. We love all people. We care about all kids. But the sad reality is that Black people sometimes don't get the attention and the support that they need, and when we're going up against something. But now we're not even going to, and with that said, I want to take it to another level for our people. Here's the thing, we all say Black Lives Matters when you're Black, right? And then there's other nationalities who support us in the Black Lives Matters movement, and it's true. But nobody likes to address the Black on Black crime, which happens in our own communities. So when we say Voices of Black Mothers United, we're talking about things that happen in their own communities or close to their communities, right? Black on Black crime. How do we help to prevent that? So Voices of Black Mothers United, that's part of the things that we stand for, trying to make a difference in those communities. You see going down at the bottom right there, you'll see where it says our website. Go there, learn about voicesofblackmothers.com is the website. Go there to learn about the organization and how you can get involved. It takes nothing. You're not investing anything but your time and help making a difference in your communities. So when we talk about those emotions, and I want the ladies to share with you now some of the things you go through. I had the opportunity and was blessed to hear Jay on a Zoom she did recently, and I was so proud of her, because of the fact that she had to share what she went through after she got that news. So again, as you've heard some of the moms say here, your life changes. You're not the same. You have a new norm. Your life, just like how the pandemic made us have a new norm, these ladies have a new norm from losing their child. And so that new norm is not a norm that nobody wants to be a part of. I can relate with them as far as the mental things you go through when you lose a child, from the perspective of, like I said, being a survivor of attempted murder and rape. I got stabbed in my eye. Someone tried to cut my throat. I mean, literally, I'm here. It's a miracle that I'm here. So I thank God for that. But I hurt for ones who experience someone trying to take their lives and they're not here. You guys have heard me talk about that on my previous shows. That hurt. They used to hurt me. I used to cry so hard and think about the people that weren't here, because I was spared and I'm here. But I'm here for a reason. And just like these moms, they might not see themselves as being brave moms, but I see the bravery in each one of them. And I know that their children are looking at them saying, I love my mom and I'm so proud of what she's doing, because she's going forward and she's trying to make a difference. So us who have not lost our kids to violence, it's up to us to make a difference too for all kids, for all our children out there in our communities. So ladies, share with us some of the things that you experienced emotionally, mentally. How did it change your life? And I want to say I've heard different people talk about getting on, maybe alcohol or whatever. I've seen different people, even when they were talking about their child, drinking at that moment because it's too much to bear. I've heard stories of mothers being when Sylvia gets a chance to come on, and I hope she does before we end, but I've heard her story of being at the cemetery every day, and I've heard stories of other people doing that same thing. And so that, just think about if your life has changed. When they say their life, it became a new norm, this changed everything. You still also have parents here and mothers here who had other children. How do you see about another child when you're so overwhelmed and so hurt from the loss of that child that someone just told you about? How do you continue to be the mother to the children that you have? These are all things I want you guys to take in and understand. It is such a challenge. And one more thing before I go back to the ladies. So for myself, when I went through what I went through, I had to deal with trying to overcome attempted murder and trying to overcome rape. Now, I wouldn't even say the R word. I would tell people I survived attempted murder, but I wouldn't say the R word because I was so embarrassed, even though I shouldn't been, because it was a crime that happened against me. And I thought people could see what happened to me if they looked in my eyes. It was just so weird, the stuff that goes on in your head that you have no control over when you're in that healing process. And but from that, I remember a few things. One was, of course, I wanted to be over that everything and be healed instantly. Secondly, I had no control over my emotions, crying spells, flashbacks, not being able to sleep, anxiety, panic attacks, fear. I wasn't going out. I was not leaving my home after that happened. I'm like, I'm never going back out because, your life is so vulnerable. I realized it was like a reality that people can take your life so easily as they've experienced, which is a sad thing to go through. So it's a lot that you go through, but you hear people say things like, and I am a Christian, I'm a believer for sure, and not ashamed of it. But you hear people say things like, oh, well, by his stripes, you're healed. And when I healed outwardly, people would say, well, I know you're over that now, and I know you're good. And I'm like, they don't even understand the battle that I go through in my mind and inside of me from what happened to me. I am not over it. I'm dealing with this every day, and it took a long time to get to a point to be able to just, because like they're going to share with you, you never get over it, but you come to a place where you live with it, but you don't forget it, but you learn how to go through life living with it, but you still can have moments. And when you lose a child, they have even more moments, I think, than what I went through. So I want you to be sensitive when you talk to a mother who has lost a child or a person who has lost a loved one, even people who have lost people to COVID. I want you guys to be more sensitive in the things you say to people, and especially in the body of Christ. You have to think, pray before you open your mouth and speak, before you say something to people. I had one young lady, I was listening to her do a live, and she said, people keep telling me, your baby's in heaven, she's in a better place. And her words was, I don't want my baby in heaven. I want my baby here with me on earth. And that made me think about the fact that too, let me think, even because as a believer, of course, I want to embrace people and give them the love of God and say, and try to encourage them that way. But that's not what they're trying to hear at that moment. And even if they are a believer, because at that moment, even if you're a believer, you still do want your child right there with you. So there's a lot that I want you guys to hear from these mothers and some of the things they dealt with. And the other last thing I'm going to say and go back to them is that I felt so overwhelmed with trying to find me and get back to who I was that I literally understood why people go on drugs, why people turn to alcohol, why people try to commit suicide. Even though I was thankful for my life, one day I said, I wish I would have died. And then I cried and said, why would you say that? And I was just crying. I was upset that I said it. But it was just I felt so overwhelmed because I just can't even explain to you guys how I felt overwhelmed. But my whole point is, if I wouldn't have been strong in my faith and knew that God kept me and let God keep me even in that moment, then I easily would have turned to any of those things. So don't judge people when you see them trying to find a mechanism to cope. Help them. help them, see how you can help them, ask them, how can I help you to get to a better place? Because here's the thing, I want all y'all listening out there, and even the mothers out there other mothers who may have lost their children. Here's the thing, a negative thing happened, right? But out of every negative, you can find a positive. The positive tells you, it takes you down a better road. But if you take your negative that you went through and you choose a negative thing to cope with it, like drugs or like alcohol or whatever it is, then now you're making the situation worse. And it's not better for you. It's not better for that child that's gone. It's not better for whatever the situation is. So you have to look for that positive. Look for the positive, because while you're looking for the positive, and you can find it, even if the positive means that you did everything you could to make sure the person who did that, is paying the way that they should for what they did. Whatever it is it takes, whether it's in your writing. And I know that Jay, for one, her cousin encouraged her to write, and she wrote her book, and that helped in part of the healing. But it doesn't take away the pain, and it doesn't take away the daily ways that you feel. So I just want you guys to be mindful of these things as you listen to these moms. And Zanetia, share with us some of the things that you experienced in trying to cope, where when people heard your story, people hear the stories and then they sympathize with you for that moment, but they forget that there's still a person hurting.
Right.
So what are some of the challenges you found yourself faced with?
Some of the major challenges that I found myself faced with is, just like you said, trying to learn that new normal. I agree with Pat 100% when she says that there's nothing normal about the new normal.
Right.
That it is a secondly process a lot of times. And that's one of the major things too that I want people to know is, when you decide or you allow whatever force to control your mind to the point to where you can easily take someone's life, I want people to realize that it's not just that life. It is everybody connected to that life.
Mm-hmm.
Our world in a split second was turned upside down. It's a struggle some days to even get up out of the bed. There are days that I have opened my eyes and I was like, wow, I'm still here. And I know who I am. I am a believer. Life built on prayer. I mean, a life of prayer. Trust God wholeheartedly. But the pain, sometimes, like I said, when I open my eyes, I have been, wow, I'm still here. And it's not a thank you, God, I'm still here. Thank you, God, I'm still here. And of course, yes, once I've opened my eyes and I've said that, and I had to go back and be like, God, thank you. So it's a struggle today, but I need you to show me in today what I'm still here. So that means that there's something still that I need to be doing. I'm valuable. And I have to talk myself out of the bed. And a lot of people look and say, the strength. However, it's not always, it's not there. And it's the strength of God. Has nothing to do with me, because the mother in me would like to crawl up under something and just not come out. Mm-hmm. The mother in me would, really like to do a whole lot of things that I know are not godly. But it's the God in me that continues to push and help me and enable me to keep going. Sometimes my mind is so messed up until I can be headed to do one thing and I'm totally forget what I'm doing. It's a struggle. Relationships are a struggle because you don't know who you are anymore. Therefore, others that have been affected as well don't know who they are. We all trying to figure out who we are again, and trying to figure out, because we're missing such a big piece of us that it's hard to communicate at times. It's hard to even be able to understand each other at times, because a lot of times we don't even understand ourselves.
Well, even just to even add to what you're saying, statistics show that 26% of parents who lose their child to violence don't usually make it 10 years within 10 years of losing that child, because there is so much that happens to your health because of your mental state
Yes.
that can affect your health. And I know Jay shared too about some things that happened with her health and where she was healthy prior to this. And then when it comes to marriages, 90 something percent of marriages end because of a loss of a child, because you can't communicate right. You don't know what that person is going through. They don't know what you're going through.
Yes.
And it's just a lot going on. So,
and in that cycle, you're finding yourself, 1 minute you're angry. It's not with the person that's in the room with you, but you're angry because of what's going on inside of you, and then your thoughts in your mind of how dare somebody feel like that they can be God, or how dare somebody feel like that they can just up and do what they want to do. And you find all this balled up on the inside of you, and before you know it, you're popping off at the people that's right there next to you. But again, like you said, I'm the person, I try to find the positive in everything, because finding the negative, looking at the negative, just holding on to the negative, I know that destroys me on the inside. So I try to be conscious of what I say, what I do, and how I do. And my husband and I, we communicate as much as possible. And then if we do find ourselves in those positions, somebody's going to come back and say, hey, I'm sorry, it's not you. Or either we really know, we just know, I know that's not her. I know that's not him. I know that's just what we're going through right now. And we try to keep those communication lines open. But it's a struggle, and it's a struggle with, with my daughter, trying to make sure that she understands that, hey, I still see you. I know you still here, but he can't speak now. So I gotta be his voice. And she understands that, and we communicate on that, but it's not always peaches and cream. It's not always good. So when people don't understand is that when you take somebody's life, you are not just taking that life. You are taking the life of everybody that is connected to that person. You are shutting them down. I left a job that I had been on for 22 years. I was 3 years from retirement, a passion, a love that I have, and that's educating children. I left there 3 years from retirement because I had to go. I had to move. So our whole life, we moved to Georgia and had to start a whole new life, a life that we hadn't. This is new to us. Everything is new. So you go through all kinds of emotions: the anger, the sadness, the brokenness, the loneliness, the frustration, the aggravation. You're going through all of this. And what people say, okay, it's the grief cycle. But what a lot of times people don't realize is that cycle never stops. It's continuous. You get to one stage, you go to the next stage, you go to the next stage, and it continues to start over and over again. You're in denial at times, not wanting to believe that this is what's actually happening. And you talk about health. Yes, it takes a toll on your health, because for a while, I couldn't eat, because all what's going on the inside of me. And then I flipped to where I'm starting to pack everything in my mouth again. And I'm like, I need to try to find balance. But grabbing a hold to that positive, like you said, is what pushes me and what helps me to keep and find something that will help me to keep moving forward. Because what I grab a hold to, especially on my angry days, I need to find something where I can release this anger. So I'm in the gym, I'm kickboxing, or walking or doing something in that area to get that off of me physically, because I'm stopping and I'm thinking about, all this bottled up that's going to cause, things are going on inside of my body. So I'm trying to do everything that I can. So it's really, really crazy. And like Pat said, you don't know when those emotions are going to hit. I'm driving down the street. I'm in the middle of Atlanta traffic downtown one day. I was fine. And as soon as it was like the cars all around me, I was a wreck. I was a wreck, about to cause a wreck. I'm broke all the way down, crying hysterically, can't even hardly catch my breath, couldn't even hardly see the road for the tears in my eyes. And all I could do was say, God, help me to get home. That's it. That's it. So I want people to understand, you don't just affect that life that you took. It affects everybody's life. You change everybody's life with that foolishness, with the ignorance. And I can't call that ignorance. That's stupid.
Yes. And I want to, and ladies, remind me of this because I want to address parents to talk with their teens about something too, or about their children about something, once I finish hearing from each one of you on this whole subject. So Jay, share with me some of the things that you went through mentally and emotionally, and like for instance, how you shared with at 40 being in a good health, and then afterwards what happened, and then what happened with the relationship with your kids, and how it affected them. As you hear Zanetta saying, it affects everyone. So what would you like to add to what she said?
Yes. I just want to say what Zanetta said is absolutely the truth. Um, like I said, I'm 40 years old, never had any health issues or anything. After my daughter passed away, I was diagnosed as being, first of all, I had a heart attack. I had a heart attack. And I wasn't even going to go to the hospital, but my other daughter, she kept saying, Mom, I think you need to go to the hospital. I think you need to go to the hospital. And then I went to the hospital and they told me that I was having a heart attack. Um, so that was the first health issue. I had stopped eating. So I had lost like 20 pounds. And then my blood pressure had dropped. I was 80 over 40.
Wow.
And so, yeah. And and then that happened, and then come to find, and then I was in the psych ward. Because I literally was losing my mind. I attempted suicide twice. Um, the toll that it had taken on me was, in my mind, I was the only one feeling this pain. It wasn't about my other kids. It wasn't about, my mother, her dad, or any of that. It was about me and how I felt and what I was going through. Um, and so it the sibling, and I speak about this because we don't really talk. We talk about what the mothers go through, but we don't talk about what the siblings go through. And the only thing that the siblings have their relationship. I don't know what my relationship, I can see it on the outside, what the relationship is with her siblings, but I don't really truly deeply know that heartfelt, those secret nights when she's talking to her little sister and her, so they have a big heart for their sister. My 13-year-old had attempted to burn himself up. And so I was dealing with that because he was thinking it was his fault. He had nothing to do with it. It was no one's fault. My older son, he was just wilding out, just, turning to drugs, alcohol, and so did I. So did I. You know, I kept thinking in my head, if I could just find my thought was, if I could get a hold to some raw heroin and not be addicted to it and just die, I was okay with that. But I'm like, where would I even find it at? The rawest form of it, like where would I find it? Because I'm like, if I get it off the street and I do it, I know I'm gonna be addicted to it, so I know I'm not gonna die. That was my thought process. I just wanted something to make the pain go away. So then the drinking started. Then I would pass out and, just drink. And I was just kind of in a whirlwind. I would get in my car and I would drive, but I didn't know where I was driving to. And that would like I experienced memory loss. I have a lot of memory loss. And when Zanetta was talking about that, it is it is like rehab. It is like walking all over again. It is like learning, you know, all over again. And so my daughter, my oldest, my baby girl, she just went into a cocoon and she just shut herself in and she wouldn't talk. And it was just a lot for me because I was dealing what I was dealing with, but I couldn't even deal with my kids because I wasn't even together. So it was like, if you ask me, well, how are the kids doing? I guess they all right, because I honestly didn't have an answer for that because I didn't, and I've always been a active parent, but at this time I just was not active at all. My daughter was helping me get in the tub, giving me back. I didn't even want to bathe myself. I didn't want to brush my teeth, and that's just simple stuff. And that's something that we struggle with, getting out of the bed. Like Zanetia said, it's days like the mother in me, like she said, yeah, I do want to just lay down, and I do struggle with my thoughts and things like that. But one thing, that last attempt, it's their last suicide attempt, one thing that made me realize that I could not leave here was I was driving in the car and I was just like, I'm just about to flip it over because I'm like doing 110 and I'm picking up the speed and I'm like, okay. And as I'm getting ready to turn my car and hit the wall, it was like a voice. And the voice said, if you die, she die. And I'm like, ain't nobody in this car but me, you know. And then it said it again. If you die, she die. And I knew at that moment, it was like my car, like the speed just came down. I know it wasn't me because I'm still pressing on the gas. I know. And the speed came down. So I know it was God, the speed came down. I exit off the ramp and he guided the car. He guided the car down 44. And so when I heard the voice, I knew at that moment, and I started bawling and just started crying, that I was her advocate.
That's
If
right.
I died, there is nobody that is going to carry her on like I'm going to carry her. There's nobody that's going to get out here and speak for her like me. There's nobody
Right.
that's just like, hey, I'm going to tell my child's story. Nobody's going to do that,
Mhm.
because I'm an outspoken person. And
Uh-oh. We can't hear you right now.
can you hear me?
Okay, yes. You say
Can
you're
you hear me?
outspoken. We can
Okay.
hear you now. You say you're an outspoken person,
Yeah,
and
I
we
said
missed.
I've always been that outspoken person,
Hmm.
but I realized that I have to be outspoken for her. That I wear my hoodies, I wear my shirts because this is my child. I carried her for 9 months. She was in my womb. I have that love for her. So anytime there's gonna be, like Miss Rhonda, like you said, anytime somebody wants you to speak, anytime, I just pray and ask God to just lead me, lead the way so I can speak about my child, because I love my babies just as well as any other mother that has their children living and speak about their kids. That's how I speak about my child. And so yeah, just with the siblings, it's still a struggle because I'm still fresh in this game. I find myself going to my daughter's room, just looking at a picture and just crying. And this has been every day, every night. I cry when I speak about this or when I just so happen to see something, and I just want people to know this, is that sometimes, people say, well, I didn't call because I was giving you your space, or I didn't come around, or I this is the thing that I really want to say, is that support is everything. Even if you're not talking to them, come come stop by my house, text me, call me, let me know you thinking about me,
That's right.
because all of that, you know, when it first happened, oh, everybody's around. Everybody's around. But the aftermath, when the smoke clears, it's you.
Yeah.
Nobody is there. You know, you have a couple of people. Oh, then you have people saying things like, call me if you need me. I'm struggling to know who I am. How can I call you and tell you that I need someone I don't know what I need? So it's like, I need my child, but you can't give me that. But I need your support. But you have to be, people are, you know, have to realize that we are in a different state of mind. The things that we normally probably could pick up the phone and say, hey girl, look, I need you to come over here because I need to talk. We can't do that. We cannot do that. So the biggest thing that I say for people is reach out to your people. You know, be a support for them. You know, if you know they lost their child, you know, and you say you trying to help or whatever, even if they say they don't feel like talking, that's fine. If they need something, go by their house, knock on my door. You know, that's how we feel, because we feel alone. We don't have our kids, so we feel so alone, and we feel like the world has forgotten about us and forgotten about our child. So, you know, in words really, you know, people can say, uh, you know, oh, it's going, like you said, it's gonna get better. What's better than having your child? You know, or you know, oh well, at least you got your other kids. What kid do you want to live without?
That's right.
You know, so it's just the knowing what to say. And sometimes when you don't know what to say, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Be a listening ear. You know, be a holding hand. Be a shoulder to cry on. You know, if you don't know what to say. But I think that we have been so trained to say the things that we think that will comfort people, that we don't want to see people hurt. But the reality is we can't fix everything. Everything is, we can't. If we could bring our kids back, we would. But like you said, we have to find a positive with that. And relationships, I just feel like if you wasn't there for me when I really needed you, what are we talking about? You know, because it's a you need somebody there. I don't want to. Well, girl, I didn't call you. Here it is. You didn't see me in the grocery store 6 months later. Hey, how you doing? Well, I didn't want to call because you know I know you need your space, baby. Keep going, because I needed more. I didn't need just space. I needed people.
That's right. I hope you guys are hearing what she's saying. Okay. These people, these moms, they're trying to tell you what it's like to go through what they've been through. And she's saying to you, if you know somebody that's hurting, guys, even if they're hurting, well, if they're hurting, especially for the loss of the child, but if they're just going through and hurting, and you know someone's dealing with depression or suicidal thoughts, don't just give them their space. Check on them. If you care, really say you're a friend or acquaintance or a family member, check on our loved ones. Life is too short. See if that person is okay. What can you do for them? Even if you're just that listening ear. Everything they're saying today is so important. And I'm hoping you will apply this to your life and the relationships that you have in your life. This is Real Talk with Rhonda Knight, y'all. You know I'm going to keep it real. And every one of these people on my show tonight is keeping it real with you. And I do want to say, I'm going to show you this, and then we're going to go to Patricia, because I want her to share with you her perspective of a part that she went through. And that was that part, Patricia, when you were telling me about at first you were okay, and then after a while it finally hit you, and it kind of made you question your faith, because I know that you guys are faithful people. So when I talk about it, and Zanetia, girl, when you was talking about that voice in the car, I'm like, okay, Lord, now this is the part where I'm really gonna break down. I'll be crying, I'll be on the floor, because I mean everything you guys are saying moves me so much. But I have to be that strong person, and you know, and listening and receiving your story, and being here to be that support for each of you. But I hear everything you're saying, each one of you, and I love each one of you. And I pray that look, you know, I'm gonna check on you. Like I'll send you a text, y'all. It don't matter because I just want to make sure. My daughters some say they say I take everybody as my family. I'm like, I love you. I'm your other mama. I love you. This, but I do because I care about people. So guys, it's so important. Care about people. Show love and support, especially when they're going through, and especially at the loss of a child. I do want to share with you. This is Jay's book. And she's going to be actually one of our featured authors at the Impact and Influence Authors Conference, and that is in March, the end of March. Guys, go back and listen to my show on the Impact and Influence Authors Association page so you'll know about the conference. I don't want to talk about the conference now because I want to keep the focus here, but she's going to be one of my featured authors with her book, Amazing Story and book. And I love that title, and I know you guys are curious about it, so go get that information so you can come to the conference. Meet Jay. Zanetta's going to be there. Patricia's going to be there vending. So you'll get a chance to meet these wonderful, beautiful moms too at that event, March 26th to the 28th. So Patricia, share with us from the faith perspective how what happened to your son affected you in your faith.
Well, first off, when I would say the first year, and that's how the book 926 Sustaining Faith came about, because the first year was for me was very I was numb. I was numb to everything. I had started seeing. I had went to a psychiatrist. I had started to seeing a psychiatrist, and that was very helpful for me. And then went to my doctor. My doctor wanted to prescribe me some medication, and I did not take the medication. Now I'm not. I want to make this clear. I want people to understand. If your doctor prescribed you medication, if you feel you need to take the medication, by all means, take the medication. I'm not telling you not to take medication that your doctor prescribed you, but for me, I chose not to take the medication because I needed to feel in order to heal. And the medication that they prescribed for me would have been a medication that would have made me numb, that would have just like had me zoned out, and I did not want to be like that, because if I take the medication, when I finish it, I'm still gonna have to. I'm just delaying what I needed to be going through for my healing process. So I didn't take medication because I needed to be able to feel what I was feeling, so that I can heal through my healing process. But what happened was that very first year. That first year to me, I was numb. It just like this can't be real. No, this can't be happening. And I found myself to be very short with people, with my grandkids, with my co-workers. I mean, and it wasn't anything that they did. It's just that I was angry. Because as mothers, we want to be to control the narrative. Well, I cannot control the narrative, because if I would have been there December 20th, 2017, I would have jumped and I would have thrown myself in front of that bullet. I would have taken that bullet for my child. So I was angry about that, because something happened that I had no control over. And so I found myself being short. I found myself being agitated. I just found myself not want to deal with people, not want to eat, not want to do anything. And so what happened was I got to the point to where I just didn't feel anything. It's just like I'm just going through the motions. I get up, I go to sleep, I eat, and whatever I do, I just do it. It's just like. Just didn't have no intent. I was just like a robot, like I had been programmed, just to do these things, because this is something that I know that I needed to do. Well, it got to the point to where during the second year, the numbness began to wear off, and I was facing, it's like everything had just hit me. because I was able to feel. I was able to feel, whereas I wasn't able to feel anything that very first year. Reality had hit me in the face. It had finally dawned on me that I would never, ever get to see my baby boy again. That I would never, ever get to hear him come in the house and, Mom, what you cook? That I would never, ever get to hear him say, Mama, I love you. I would never, ever get to have grandkids because he had no children. I never get to have a daughter-in-law. He was going to proposed to his fiance on December 25th, but he got murdered five days before. So all of this reality had just really set in for me, and I felt that second year. I'm like, God, my God, where are you? I felt you that first year, because that's how my first book came about, 9/26 Sustaining Faith, because it was my faith in God that carried me. And I'm saying, Lord, even though I don't understand, I trust your plan. So I felt the presence of God with me the first year. But then that second year, I'm like, God, where are you? Where did you go? I don't feel you. I'm praying. Are you even listening to my prayer? So I just felt like God had abandoned me. I'm like, Lord, where are you? I know you said you would never leave me. No, you would never forsake me. But where are you? I can't feel your presence. I knew you was with me that first year, but now I really need you. Where are you? And so that second year was bad, and then the third year, and it just some days it's okay, some days it's not, and then like Jay was saying, people come around and say some of the awfulest things that they shouldn't. So I'm gonna say they just say some dumb things, and I know they probably don't mean no harm, but if you don't know what to say to a grieving parent, sometimes it's just best to be there. A lot of times, if you don't know what to say, just knowing that your presence is there. Your presence says a lot. You're not saying anything verbally, but your presence speaks volume. We know you don't know what to say, but we need you there. When it first happened, it was so many people at my house that you couldn't walk without falling over somebody. Then the next week, where are they? I'm at home crying, need somebody to talk to. Nobody, no, not so much of a phone call, not so much of a text, but these are people that said, if you need me, call me. Yes, I need you. Like, how can I tell you what I need when I don't even know what I need? So it just, I just thank God. The reason I'm gonna tell you how I connected with Zanetia. When her baby got murdered, I was sitting in my living room watching the 10 o'clock news. I saw her interview. And as I saw her interview, I just began to weep. I began to weep for myself, and I began to weep for her, because she was saying some of the exact same thing that I was saying to the cameraman. And I'm like, oh God, I know what she's going through. I feel her pain. And I found her on Facebook, and I texted her and said, hey, you don't know me, but I saw your story. I just know this is my name. This is what happened to me. And this is some of the things that, because I was a little bit further along, because it just happened to her, but I had been in it a while. I said, look, this is some of the things that you're going to experience. No, I went through this, so this is what's going to happen to you. So I wanted her to know that these are some of the things that's going to come along, that you are going to experience, and let you know that you are not crazy.
That's right.
Because I could not remember anything. I will lay something down, and 2 seconds later, I forget where I laid it at. I could be driving my car. I was on my way home, driving my car, and then 20 minutes later, I'm realizing I done passed by the exit, and I'm 20 miles from home. Did not realize I'm at the stop. I'm in traffic at the red light. I put my car in park. People are blowing their horns, and they're like, "What they blowing their horns for?" And I realize they blowing their horn at me because I'm at the red light. The light to turn green, but I'm at the red light. I done put my car in park. You know, so those are some of the mental things that we go through. We're not crazy.
Right.
And one thing that I've learned on this journey is that I found out that some people do not like to talk about what we experience because it forces them to face a reality that it could very much happen to them. The things that they know that we're going through, they don't want to talk about it because it scares them to know that if it happened to you, it could very happen to me. But we don't want y'all to be afraid of us. We are mothers just like you are. We're just walking a different journey. And so if there's anything that I can say to anybody tonight is be mindful of what you say to a parent, what is a mother or a father, because there are some fathers too. Just be mindful what you say to people when they are grieving the loss of their child, because everybody walk is different. And if you don't know what to say, if you can just be there, your presence speaks volumes. Sometimes we just want to know that you're there, even without you're saying so much, even by just sitting in our presence, just being quiet. So don't be afraid of us. Don't run from us, because we need you. We need each other. And so, and there's so much more that I can say, but time is far spent. So that's what I want to say, Miss Rhonda.
Well, thank you. I think you said a mouthful, and that was very good. And you made a good point. A lot of people are so afraid that if they listen to your stories, or if they sympathize with you, it means it's going to happen to them. It does not mean that. It means that you are supporting someone in need that needs you at that moment. And give some love, do something to make a difference, because there's a person hurting and needs you. And I have to say this because I know that you've written 2 books, Patricia, and I know you have a 3rd book coming out, and it's called what?
Shut the hell up.
And I have to laugh because sometimes when you don't know what to say, sometimes you just got to do just that. Just shut up and be there. Just be that support. If you don't know what to say, instead of saying the wrong thing, like by his stripes you are healed, or I know you over that situation now, or get over it. That happened 10 years ago. No, just shut up if you don't know what to say, and just be there and be support for that person. So I do want to say, I think that all of you guys bring something wonderful to the table. What would you say, again, when we talk about Voices of Black Mothers United, the very thing that you're doing is giving that help to those who are listening. Each thing, like you said, when you reached out to Zanetia, you wanted to make sure she knew some of the things that she was going to experience because you've been through that. Jay, when you share your story, it's helping other people to understand some things that they may experience. And I know you would tell them it's not just like how God showed you. You can't, suicide is definitely not the answer. Why? Because not only are you killing yourself, but you're killing your child's life where you could give life through you to keep that baby's memory alive. And that's what Voices of Black Mothers United is about, helping to honor our fallen children so that they're not forgotten. We're not forgetting these beautiful babies. They were here for a short time, but they did some great things while they were here, even if it was just touching the lives of their friends or their siblings or their family. Okay, so we honor them today. We honor them today. And I'm not, we went a little longer. Usually my show is only half hour, but hey, it's my show. So guess what? I can do it as long as I want. And I love these people that came on and shared with you. And I hope you guys stay with us for the whole show and share this on your page. Share it on your page so somebody can hear it. You don't know who you might be helping in the long run, And so before you all leave, but let me ask you this too, so that they understand too, Patricia. Even with that battle when you thought God left you, would you say that you're still in a faithful place this day to believe that He is real and He hasn't left you or forsaken you?
I know that. I know that God is real. I know that God is with me. But see, the battle is in the mind. Mm-hmm. And then see the enemy will try to, as I say, put fear in you, false evidence appearing real.
Yes.
So the enemy in the midst of that, I guess the devil thought, okay, she's down now. So while she's down, I'm fixing to take her out. But my faith in God was stronger than any fear that he could have placed upon me. So yes, God is real. And now that I realize that sometimes when we feel like we are in a dark place, that God is actually planning us while we are in that dark place. So I said before, Lord, I do not understand, but I still trust your plan. And that's where I am now. I don't understand the whole picture, but I still trust God's plan.
Amen. Well said. Well, I want to commend each of you. I'm going to end in just a few minutes, but let me ask you, is there anything that you want to add that I didn't cover that you want to say, or any last thoughts before I close? You can unmute yourself, and if you have something to say, go ahead and feel free to say what you need to say.
Yes, I would, Miss Rhonda. I would just want to add that to all the grieving parents that may be out there, that may be watching, remember that we can connect together. And this is what I try to reiterate on the Thursday night grief parent support group, Zoom group that we do. I try to reiterate and try to tell mothers and fathers, that chime in, it's like a link. I see us all linked together because we did not choose to be on this journey. We were chosen to be on this journey. Okay. But we can choose to walk this journey together. We don't have to be alone, and we can be connected, hand in heart, because we share the same grief. And I see us connected together, linked together in our arms. But then there's always that last mother or that last father that it happened to, whose hand should be out or could be out to say, hey, come on. And we all stay linked together, and if we all stay linked together and help each other, because what I can share, what I did when I'm in this place, it can help somebody else. Somebody can share what they did when they felt this emotion. And those things gives us different ideas. From in our support group on Thursdays, we actually have shared some things that have triggered some other stuff in other mothers that have allowed them to get up and come out. The purpose of the support group, hey, support, we're going to find out how to get better. We're going to find out how to manage. We're going to find out how to live. We're not going to just stay stuck where we are. So I just want to encourage any that may be out there. And I piggyback off of what Pat and Jay said, you need that support from others. That gives us balance. That helps us not to stay just linked up with people in the same condition as us or same journey as us. But when we linked up with somebody that's not there, that gives us balance to not stay in that place, but help us to see, from other areas as well. It gives us balance. So I want to encourage. And another thing that I would just like to add before we close is that I do agree. One thing I found out and really realized too is that we cannot judge others. So don't be so quick to judge when you see somebody on drugs, when you see somebody that has become an alcoholic, you see somebody that's wilding out, because you don't know what they have been through. And because of who I know lives inside of me, and because of who I know I am in God, that is my reason. And I'll tell anybody that I could have easily been strung out on drugs by now. I could have easily, because my body yearned, my mind, my heart, everything yearned for something to just make the pain stop. But then because of my faith, because of who I know lives inside of me, I couldn't go that way. I didn't go that way, but I could have. So I understand how people have gotten there now. So just loving on people and remembering that we're human, like Pat said, and we need that support. We need that love, and we need to give it to each other.
I agree.
Much for this opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome. Let me have each of you too, and if it's something else you want to say, you can feel free to say it to the other ladies. But tell briefly what you do as a support group, and how people can connect to you. And the nice thing is with virtual, everything pretty much being virtual now, even if you're in another state, you can still connect with these ladies virtually. So tell how they can connect with you, Zanetta, if there's families who lost loved ones through violence and everything, how they connect with your organization or group.
My organization, my nonprofit is Operation Recovery, and I do have a Facebook page, and also Operation Recovery has a website. You can actually go to my Facebook page and reach out to me that way, or my number is 601-410-3498. I also have a grief support group for parents who have lost children, and not just children to violence, but parents who have lost children in any form, as far as, you know, death. We've even had some mothers to come on who had lost their children. They lost that relationship. They didn't lose them physically, but they lost them emotionally. We know about that too. So therefore, on Thursday nights at 7 Eastern time, it's 6 o'clock Central time. My Facebook page has the flyer with the information, the Zoom information on there. So you can go to my Facebook page and reach out to me in any type of way. So that's basically what we do. We support those grieving parents. And Operation Recovery is building to try to do more to support parents financially, emotionally, spiritually, in every form that we possibly can.
Awesome. Thank you. And Jay, what would you like to say in regards to what you do to make a difference as well?
Basically, like I just wrote my book, and I am on that Zoom every Thursday for mothers. Just bringing to the awareness to our group, and just speaking about, you know, what we go through, how we can help. We always try to give something, a positive feed out of that Thursday night Zoom. So that's pretty much where I am right now. I don't have a nonprofit organization or anything yet, but it's just something that I just want to tap on just a little bit about social media, or just the media in general. You know, a lot of times when a lot of things are out on social media, it's like people believe everything that they read or they see because it came from the news, and you know, it came from Facebook, or it must be accurate. You know, so before you get in a space where you're just going off of what you heard versus what you know, and then putting things out there in the air on social media, or whatever, you have to realize that that child has a family. You know, so certain things that you put out there, you cannot get back. You cannot, you know, say pull them back in. You can't say that, you know. And so after it's gone out already, and then once someone, it just so happened, let's just say that mother seen it, it's just, she's already dealing with the fact that she's lost her child. Now she has to deal with the critics from social media, or from, you know, the media, you know. So we just have to, we as people just have to be mindful. We just have to be mindful of how we deal with situations, and how we deal with, you know, things that are very sensitive to family, and the mother and father of that child.
I agree. I agree. And Patricia, you want to let them know what you're doing, and if there is an organization that you're working with, and what you do to that organization.
Well, I'm in the process of getting an organization set up. So in the meantime, I just get on there with Z on her Thursday nights show, and just try to help people that way. But I just want to leave this thought with people, is that um if you can journal. Journaling helped me a lot. No, sometimes you may not know what to say, or you have so much to say. So if you write down what you need to say on paper, that gives you kind of a release, because everything that we go through, it would build up, and it's like a pressure cooker. And if you don't release that, and when that lid pop, there's gonna be a whole lot of pressure come out, and it's gonna be some collateral damage. It's gonna hurt whoever is in the way. So if you can journal, I think I was telling Jay journal. I was telling no Z journal. Journaling helps me. But we are in this together. I want you guys, you women and men, to know that you are not alone. There are people with you. Some of us are a little bit ahead of you. Some of us are right there with you, and some of us are coming up from behind. But we are in this thing together. And only the person that has lost a child, it doesn't matter what it was, a drug addiction, it doesn't matter if there was murder, it doesn't matter if they was lost their life in a car accident, or if they were sick. Only a person that lost a child can really relate to what you're going through. So we're not here to judge anybody. We want to let you know that we love you, that we will not judge you, that we are stronger together, and we will get through this together, hand in hand, arm in arm, and we will cry with you. We'll laugh with you. We'll pray with you. We'll just, if we have to just get ugly, we'll get ugly and cry right there with you. So we just want to let you guys know that, hey, that we love you and that we are here. So please don't sit there and suffer in silence. Don't sit there and go through this by yourself, because there are people out there that know what you're going through. We know what you feel, and yes, what you feel is real. What you feel is very real. So we just want to leave that there. And I'm on Facebook, Elder Patricia Morgan. So if you guys want to look me up, you want to inbox me, and I give you my number. It's 601-337-4902. If you just feel like you just need to reach out and talk, I'm always there, and I love you.
All right, ladies, and listen, one last thing. I just want you to briefly tell me, what do you feel about Voices of Black Mothers United and being a part of that, and why it's important for other mothers to come together under that same umbrella? Okay, I guess we'll start with you, Zanetia.
I am very, very thankful for Voices of Black Mothers United. I believe that we're destined to do some great things. And again, the voices of these mothers coming together, again, unity, showing a togetherness, and we can get more done by being together. And I am grateful to be a part of that, and very excited, and feel like we can really move forward in helping the community, because we can be proactive rather than having to be reactive. We can prevent, not all, but we can prevent some of the parents from having to go through what we've been through by giving our children outlets, by reaching them and doing what we need to do to detour them from some of the reasons. Hurt people hurt people. There's a reason that everybody does what they do, whether it's, from childhood or whatever it is. But if we can catch these children at a young age and help them, and Mothers United all over the U.S., then that doesn't just mean we just gonna help the kids in Atlanta. That doesn't mean we just gonna help the kids in Waynesboro. That doesn't mean we just gonna help the kids in Missouri, help the kids in Poplarville. That means we gonna help people in California. We're gonna help people in Ohio. We're gonna help people we're gonna help children everywhere.
Yes.
And that's gonna bring about a whole lot of healing.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. And that was beautiful. Jay, what you have to say and add to that?
Yes, that's exactly my thought process on that. I'm just happy to be a part of it, because I see great things happening in this group. I see the mothers that are and the children that, like Zanetia said, if we could just help, and get people to be connected. We have gotten into this space where we do not want to have emotions, or just have humanity for people. And so I just feel like it's a great organization, that it's going to definitely move some mountains. It's going to definitely help some people. And then in the process, as we're healing, it's going to help us as well. So extending ourselves, extending our babies out there, I thank you, Miss Rhonda, for that. so I just think that this is a great opportunity. This is a great organization, and I just want to extend my love and my care to all of the mothers and children, that are gone, and the parents that won't speak out, that they can't speak out. It's not necessarily that they just won't. Sometimes people just can't.
Right.
So I'll be their voice. I'll speak for them too.
That is right.
So, thank you, Miss Rhonda.
You're welcome. And I told, and if I can share this, but I told Jay earlier via text, I see her doing great things to make a difference for mothers who have lost their children. And even if she doesn't see the vision yet, but I just see it in her, just like Zanetia is already reaching out and making a difference, just like Patricia is thinking about doing some things, and she's done stuff through her books. But I see you being a great leader too. So it was said here on Real Talk Around the Night. So when it happens, you guys will be like, oh, Rhonda knows something. I'm just kidding. But Patricia, what would you like to say about Voices of Black Mothers United?
It takes a village.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a village. Your child is my child. My child is your child. And we all on here tonight have the heart of a mother. And we know that a mother's love is unconditional. There's no length. There's no amount of mile that a mother would not go in order to save her child. And I think that the Voices of Black Mothers United is going to be that light, is going to be that beacon of light that shines in darkness.
That's
We
right.
fixing to shine some light in some dark places. We fixing to let the love of Christ shed abroad in our hearts.
That's right.
And we fixing to go into the enemy territory, and we fixing to take back our kids. I say tonight, Satan, you cannot have our children. You would not have our children. Tonight is a night because the Voices of Black Mothers United, we're coming, and we're coming strong. Like they have that the 100 men in black water. I think we're gonna be strong. We're gonna be 1,000 plus. Voices of Black Mothers United, and we're gonna do it, and we can make a difference. We can make a difference.
That's right. Well, I want to say I'm so proud of all of you. I love you so much. I'm proud of your family. Y'all know you can call me. I'm not gonna say y'all calling me. I'm gonna say I'm gonna be calling on y'all because I'm not about to mess up. Jay will be like, didn't I just tell Miss Rhonda? I said call me. Don't be. So look, I'm gonna be calling y'all to make sure everybody's doing well. But I love each of you guys. Thank you to my viewers. Thank you for always supporting my shows and listening. Share this video, guys. Share it on your page. Let's reach out and make a difference across this country. You guys have got a lot of followers. If you guys share this on your page, just imagine how many people you can help, because you don't even know who's hurting out there. There are a lot of people who don't come forward, like Jay was kind of saying. Some people can't speak yet. So you may be sharing this on your page, and it may affect and help somebody that's just scrolling through Facebook because they feeling sad and they hear and see this post. So make a difference today. All right, guys. Well, I love you so, so much. And Real Talk Around the Night, we're going to end here. And I do want to say again, thank you to all my guests, to Zanetia Henry, to Patricia Morgan, and to Jay Honey. Love you guys all. Hey, you guys, you right there. Love you so much. And keep tuning in. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I'm back now, guys. 7 o'clock to Eastern Standard Time. I'm back. Real Talk Around the Night. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And I have one comment I want to put up there. Break the Silence. That is a young lady. She has an organization called Breaking the Silence Now, but is dealing also with sexual assault and being that voice to speak up when you're dealing with some things. But even breaking the silence when it comes to the hurt that a mother may feel when they're going through this pain. So we're here for you guys. We are here. All right. So I am going to go ahead and end here. Ladies, stay on there after I end, okay? Just for a moment. So just stay on there and hang out with me for a second. All right, guys. Bye.
Real talk with Rhonda.